Wuthering Waves 2.8 live stream and Zenless Zone Zero's 2.4 live stream. Which one was better? So it's no secret that recently there has been absolutely nothing to do in Wuthering Waves. Lucky for them, the heat has not been all on Kuro because there has been a lot of other games coming out that people love, like Do at Night Abyss, Where Winds Meet, and Chaos Zero Nightmare. But even in the midst of all that, it seems like a lot of Wuthering Waves players are patiently waiting for their game to have content. So first off, let's look at some of the highlights from Wuthering Waves 2.8 live stream. And first off, this is the new area we're getting. It looks incredible, but even better than that, we get a look at Chisa, who could almost bring me back to playing this game alone. She has an aesthetic that I haven't really seen much recently in gacha, and we've known about her for a long time, so it's good to finally see her in-game model. Her animations are really sick too. I have no idea what this chainsaw looking thing is, but it's awesome though. It looks awesome. Bullying looks pretty good too. I know some people are really excited. We're finally getting a 4-star, especially before Honkai Star Rail, who probably needs that 4-star even more, but it's fine. I look forward to the next limited 5-star that they put out that gets power crept in 2 months. Fun fact, it looks like Bullying is one of those sensitive Discord mods, so I'm glad you guys are getting some representation. She's also a Naruto fan too, so now I have to get her. What is this thing?
Hi, whore.
Hey, you shut up when I'm talking to you! You shut your mouth!
Hi, whore.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit!
So yeah, apparently he's part of the lore in this new area. Did you really think I wouldn't notice that the music was too loud right there? You were probably like, I can't even hear what bro is saying. And these weird floaty things are doing the cha-cha slide on my screen. So apparently this guy is part of the lore in this new area, and we're actually getting 2 new main story quests at the exact same time instead of spaced out over the course of the patch. And I am probably going to be playing these story quests for the first time in a while because I love the urban vibe. That's probably why I like ZZZ so much, and I'm looking forward to the WUWA 3.0 patch. And I have some great news. You're probably wondering, what would you even do with Chisa or Bullying once you pulled them? And it looks like we are finally getting a combat event. In fact, we are getting 2. That was my biggest problem with Galbrena and Kuyon. They were both awesome characters, but there was pretty much nothing to do with them once you pulled them. And if you've been doing the endgame content resets for a little over a year now, then I'm sure you would like to switch it up and do at least one thing different with the character that you just potentially spent $300 on. Then we have these very subtle quality of life changes that Kuro is really good with, and I wish there was more gacha games that would take after them, because even this far into the game's life cycle, they're making these minor tweaks that make the game even more enjoyable to play in the long run. Quality of life really makes a game. That's part of what makes Genshin Impact so unbearable to play sometimes, is the fact that their quality of life is pretty much non-existent. We also have some more good news. Kuro is finally going to tweak with the negative status effects, and I don't think anybody liked these anyways. In fact, I think we are getting a new negative status effect, Havoc Bane, and it looks like this will be a generalized negative status effect usable for most characters, so we're not going to have any of this Zani, Phoebe nonsense. Some of the only bad that I can see from this patch is that they're still doing this Nightmare Nest bullshit that's probably locked behind a good bit of the story. I don't know why we don't just go back to Tacit Fields, because the Nightmare Nest made sense for Forlova, and that was fine, but ever since then they found a way to make farming for echoes more and more tedious, and just stuck with it for some reason. The Chisa banner has some of the worst 4-stars in the entire game on it. The summoning experience in this game has pretty much turned into the same problem that HSR has had for like the past year, and that's basically just waiting for the limited 5-star to pop up, or a standard character that you won't use. Tauchi looks cool, but she's not bringing any value to your account. Yuanwu used to be the best free-to-play option for Gen Z, but she has so many better options now, plus she isn't really amazing as she used to be anymore, but still good, obviously. And then there's Alto. What are you even supposed to do with this guy? And then we already know that 99% of the 4-star weapons in this game aren't even notable. If you're wondering where Buling is, well, they put her on the rerun banners like they did with the previous new 4-stars. And finally, we have a new skin for Zani.
Huh? A short break won't hurt.
Yeah, there isn't much going on there. And I feel like Kuro is a little too conservative with these skins in the fact that they try to make them very similar to the original designs of the character. And I think if you're going to make a skin that has a premium price tag on it, then it should be a fair bit different from the default. I think that they did a pretty good job with something like Carlotta, but then you look at this Zani skin, and I'm not gonna say it took no effort, but it's just very similar. No, it took no effort. That shit took no effort. It's very similar to the original when it comes to the color scheme especially. And I've heard some cope that maybe it was free, but it's probably not gonna be. But if that's true, then it's fine because it would just be like a recolor, but I doubt that. I haven't played Zenless Zone Zero in a while, but from what I've heard, a lot of people are excited about 2.4. And because the Wuthering Waves live stream was on the same day as ZZZ, I decided to take a look at what's going on over there. The first new character you're getting is Dylin, a physical stunner who makes your team lock in to do more damage. Meaning, yes, she is one of those characters that can trigger chain attacks. But I think a lot of the hype is definitely coming from Ban Yue, and ZZZ probably has some of the best looking male characters in the space. He plays a lot like a fighting game character and has the Buddha physique going on. I was surprised by the amount of events happening, although I don't really count the mini games because you can't tell me with a straight face that you're doing things like this just for the pulls. Zenless being the least profitable out of the Hoyo franchise, they did not disappoint with some of these quality of life changes. Also great news for the story because it has been dog meat recently and a character advertisement simulator, but they will make an effort to get away from the stigma because they are introducing the Void Hunter early and trying to develop them outside of their release date. I hope it's as good as it sounds because I really do think that ZZZ has the bones to be a great game, but it suffers from all of the Hoyo tactics, and Wuthering Waves, while recently picking up some of Hoyo's antics, has been consistently pretty good overall. So here's the thing with Wuthering Waves 2.8. There isn't much actually going on in the patch. You'll probably get the bulk of your time spent on the main story quest and the combat events, but that's all. So just because we finally got combat events and a hologram, I'm not gonna sit here and just glaze Kuro, but obviously this patch has a lot more going on than we've had recently. So if you've been starving for some Wuthering Waves, then you'll probably enjoy this. So for the most part, I think that this patch looks good because we haven't had anything else going on in the game for a while. And I know a lot of people aren't gonna like that, but it's the truth. When it comes to Zenless, there's a lot more work to be done for that game, but it seems like they're starting to recover from the garbage that they spat out since 2.0. So here's some good news for everyone looking for something to play, because unfortunately Wuthering Waves 2.8 isn't out yet, and if you didn't pull Q-Yon, then you're probably watching paint dry. By the time this video goes up, Where Winds Meet will finally be out, and I know a lot of people probably don't care, and I don't even necessarily like Souls games, but I will give it a try because the graphics are beautiful. And there's even more good news. If you didn't pull Q-Yon, there's a free version of him in this game. So your word of the day today is Ananta. I've been looking forward to this game ever since it was called Project Mugen, and I've recently went back and looked at a gameplay trailer for this game, and I regret it because I just reminded myself that this game probably isn't even close to coming out. One of the things that jumped out at me about this game is the fact that it has that soul that something like a Genshin Impact had when you first looked at it, or Wuthering Waves 2.0. Obviously, when it comes to combat, Wuthering Waves might always have that over a lot of other games, but the sheer amount of things you'll be able to do in Ananta looks exciting and more than enough to make up for the combat complexity. Another thing that I think will make this game stand out from other gachas and help it succeed is the fact that it will be releasing on PS5 as soon as it comes out. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't play these games on console, but you do miss out on a large chunk of your audience when you don't release a game on console. Just look at the Hoyo games and how big they are, and they always have a console client. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this far. If you have, feel cute today, peace.